I'm Captain Aria Morales, 38, Texas Army National Guard, Logistics. I've handled blackout drills, convoy reroutes, and more than a few midnight emergencies. Still, I didn't expect my own sister to hit me with a knife made of words at my parents' dinner table. It was my folks' 40th anniversary, a simple celebration at their place on the east side of Austin. I'd spent the afternoon assembling a rose petal cake, muscle memory from my old shop, Bloom and Forge, petals tucked like rank tabs along soft pink swirls. The room was all glass clinks and neighbor chatter when the shot landed. My sister, 5 years younger, leaned back and said without even looking at me, "Aria, you're holding us back. We want to live without you." Silence. Hector, my dad, took a slow sip of red like she'd commented on the weather. Sophia, my mom, froze mid-bite. Nadine Alvarez next door stared at her napkin. Colin and Mara Reeves across the street went quiet. I felt the heat rise, but years of training kicked in. Breathe, posture, control the scene. I set my glass down. No speech. No tears. I conducted a quick internal triage. Secure, assess, execute. Then walked to my old room, zipped a single go bag, slid my laptop into the sleeve and ghosted out the back door into the cool Texas night. 10 miles later I checked into a roadside motel. Phone face down. No looking back. One decision brief to myself. I will never wear the label burden again. Not to them, not to anyone. And if they want life without me, let's see how it runs when the lights don't turn on, the water doesn't flow, and due dates stop getting paid. Quick roll call for everyone watching. What time is it where you are and what city are you in? Drop it in the comments so I know who this is reaching. Tap subscribe and ring the bell, because in the next segment I start cutting every single bill. Let's talk boundaries. Real ones. The motel AC hummed like a far-off generator. My phone buzzed with messages from Riley and Mom. I didn't touch it. I stared at the ceiling and tracked how I'd ended up here, not just in this scratchy bed, but in a life where my own family treated me like dead weight. 5 years earlier I owned Bloom and Forge, a small flower studio downtown. Nothing flashy, but it was mine. Brides came in with shaky hands and big hopes. I left with thorn pricks and a full heart. Then Dad called late one night. Debt. Medical bills after Mom's surgery. Second mortgage. A roof that leaked like a bad field tarp. They were inches from losing the house. I moved the mission forward. I sold Bloom and Forge, $150,000. Enough to stabilize the debt, patch the roof, keep utilities alive. I moved back into my childhood room, told myself it was temporary. Temporary became 5 years. I took a job at a local nursery, half the pay I made at my shop, so I could keep cash flowing while I covered electric, water, internet, insurance, property taxes. Nearly $2,000 a month out of my account, every month. Dad would nod. Mom would hug me. Riley? She treated me like an uninvited guest. Growing up, she trailed behind me, ponytail bouncing, begging to help wire corsages. I taught her to drive, covered for her when she slipped out after curfew. But the woman in that kitchen wasn't the kid on a blanket under the stars. She'd roll her eyes when I walked in, mutter about how I took up space, snap over a mug in the sink. "You don't even belong here." I clocked it as stress. Her boutique hours barely covered rent, and she chased low-pay freelance gigs online. Still, the digs kept coming, louder, meaner. She'd blast music when I tried to speak. Passive-aggressive chore notes. Last month she told Mom loud enough for me to hear that I was mooching, while I was literally paying the bills. Most mornings I'd slip out before sunrise, run the trail along the lake and eat dinner alone in my room, scrolling old photos from the shop and missing the smell of fresh peonies. Dad tuned carburetors in the garage for extra cash. Mom talked roses with Nadine. They leaned on me but never asked how I was holding up. I told myself they were just tired. But Riley's cold front cut through everything. Back in that motel I finally admitted the truth. I'd traded my independence to keep their life spinning, and they decided I was excess weight. My savings were low. The nursery paycheck barely covered me and I was still fueling a house that told me to get out. I sat up, hauled my laptop closer and ran a full accounting. Not revenge, not yet, just clarity. By noon I'd checked out and driven to Noah and Lila Chen's bungalow in Hyde Park. They've been my lifeline since the day I sold the shop. Coffee when I needed calm, a joke when I needed air. My messages kept buzzing. I still didn't open them. Noah beat me to the door. "Aria, what happened?" Lila slid a plate of sandwiches my way, eyes soft but seeing everything. I gave them the short version, the kind you deliver after a hard patrol. Not about cake or wine but about the sentence that split the room. How my sister called me dead weight. How Dad sipped. How Mom went quiet. How nobody corrected the record. Lila squeezed my hand. Noah's jaw set like he was connecting old dots. You know who this reminds me of? He said. Victor Hale. Victor ran a landscaping outfit back when I was launching Bloom and Forge. Noah told it like it happened yesterday. Victor paid for his grown daughter's rent, car note, utilities, even daycare. She told him he was in the way and to stop coming around. He didn't argue. He shut everything off. The power, the water, the car. A month later she begged him back. He didn't return. He bought a small condo in San Antonio and started over. Some people don't value weight until they have to carry it, Noah said. Lila poured coffee and nodded toward my laptop. You've been carrying them for years, Arya. What happens when you set it down? I opened my banking dashboard. Rows of autopays blinked like indicators on a convoy map. Electric 300, water 100, internet 80, home insurance 400, plus repairs, subscriptions, random bleed. Line by line I hovered. Heart elevated, hands steady. Not angry. Accurate. One by one I cut the lines. Electric, terminated. Water, terminated. Internet, cancelled. Insurance, non-renewed. Each click felt like snapping a frayed strap off a too heavy ruck. They said they wanted to live without me. I closed the laptop. Noah rested a hand on my shoulder. Right call, he said. Lila offered the guest room as long as I needed it. My phone buzzed again. I let it. Excuses can wait. Clarity can't. You've been carrying your family for years, Arya, Lila said. What do they even do without your money? That landed harder than I expected. I'd always framed the transfers as help, never as a crutch. But sitting at the Chen's table with Noah and Lila looking at me like I actually deserved better, the picture snapped into focus. My sister. My dad. My mom. They'd built a routine around my sacrifices, and somehow erased me from it. I opened my laptop. Fingers moving before doubt could catch up, I logged into my bank. A convoy of autopays marched down the screen. Electric $300, water $100, internet $80, home insurance $400, plus repairs, subscriptions, random bleed. About $2,000 a month, years of rose wire and thorn pricks from Bloom and Forge poured into a house that told me to disappear. Noah watched me like he knew the next step. Lila stayed quiet, steady. I went into settings. Heart high, hand steady. Electric, cancelled. Water, hissed. Internet, cut. Insurance, terminated. Thread by thread I severed the lines tying me to that address. Not out of anger, out of clarity. They wanted to live without me. Copy. Execute. Laptop closed. Noah tapped my shoulder. Right call. Lila offered the guest room. I thanked them, voice low but locked in. My phone buzzed on the table. I let it. Excuses can wait. Boundaries can't. Day 3. I was at the Chen's kitchen table nursing coffee when my phone lit up. Riley. I let it ring, then answered. What did you do? Panic sharpened her words. The internet's out. I can't submit my freelance work. And Mom's freaking out. Shut down notices for power and water. Turn it back on. Now. Your words, I said evenly. You wanted life without me. This is what that looks like. You're overreacting, Arya. Just flip it all back on and stop being dramatic. In the background I heard Mom's anxious voice, probably worried about the fridge warming. I kept my tone level, the command voice I use when a situation is spiraling. It's not my job to run your life, Riley. You're 30. Figure it out. A beat of silence. Then a bitter laugh. You're so sensitive. No one wants you around. This is why. She hung up. I set the phone down. No tremor in my hands, even with the burn in my chest. Lila raised an eyebrow. She's got some nerve. Noah folded the local paper. Give it a few days. They'll feel the weight. Mom called later, voice soft and pleading. Arya, sweetheart, please. The house is falling apart. Riley can't work. Your dad can't pick up mower jobs without Wi-Fi. Can't you just turn it all back on? We're family. I pictured her in the living room with her gardening books, twisting her hands like she does when worry takes over. Riley said you'd all be better off without me, I said. You didn't disagree. I'm giving her exactly what she asked for. A long silence. Then, she didn't mean it. You know how she gets. Please come home. I thought of the months I tiptoed through that house, paying bills while eating alone, hoping for a simple thank you. I'm not coming back, I said. Not until Riley takes responsibility for what she said. Mom tried to jump in. I stopped her calm. You let it stand, Mom. You and Dad sat there. That's on all of you. I ended the call. Heart racing, mind clear. That was strong, Lila said. I don't feel strong, I said. Just focused. That evening Riley called again, voice hot. You think this is a game? The neighbors are talking. Nadine came over with her fake concern. You're embarrassing us. I almost laughed. You embarrassed yourselves. You wanted me gone. Now I'm gone. Handle your own bills. She launched into names and history. I hung up and blocked her. Mom's voicemail came the next morning, smaller now. Arya, we can't keep up without you. The water bill's due. Riley's asking Nadine for a loan. Please just talk to us. I didn't call back. Not ready for another loop of pleas that dodge accountability. Riley drew the line and they let her draw it in permanent marker. I wasn't going to rush in and erase it for them. I stayed at the Chen's. Helped Lila with dinner prep. Listened to Noah talk about opening his community market. Their house felt like shelter. Somewhere I wasn't invisible. But I knew the weather wasn't clearing. Riley wouldn't let this drop and Mom would keep calling. I braced for the next front, certain I'd made the right call, even if it was heavy. Week 2. The neighborhood chatter got loud. I was still in the Chen's guest room when a text pinged from Nadine Alvarez. Everything okay with your folks? Heard some things. I didn't reply. Austin's a big city, but streets like ours talk. The Morales house was now a topic at mailboxes and over hedges. I'd blocked Riley, but Mom's messages kept coming, thinner each time. The latest, we got a notice from the bank. We're behind on the mortgage. Please call. No surprise. Without my transfers, the mortgage, utilities, taxes, all of it, stacked up fast. Riley had always relied on the cushion I laid down. The boutique barely covered her own expenses, and without internet her freelance pipeline dried up. Noah caught me staring at the phone. Going soft, he teased. They need to learn, I said, but the firmness in my voice wavered. They'll figure it out, Lila said, sliding a cutting board toward me. Or they won't. Either way, it isn't your mess anymore. Or they won't, and that's not on you, Lila said. The next day I drove through my old neighborhood, not to visit, just to grab a package I'd rerouted to the post office. Turning onto the street, I caught Colin and Mara Reeves standing on their lawn, whispering. They went quiet when they saw my car. Mara lifted a hesitant hand. I didn't wave back. Nadine Alvarez was out watering her roses, eyes drifting toward my parents' place. The grass overgrown, the mailbox fat with envelopes. I kept rolling, but the image stuck. Our families seemed splitting in full view. By week's end, Lila heard through a mutual friend that Riley had lost a big freelance contract. No internet meant no delivery. The client moved on. She picked up a night shift at a supermarket, stocking shelves under fluorescent lights. A part of me winced. She's still my sister. Then I replayed her words at that table, sharp and deliberate. She chose that cut. Not me. That evening Sophia showed up at the Chen's unannounced, cheer gone, shoulders tight. I was in the living room helping Lila sort old photos when the doorbell rang. No, let her in. Mom stood in the doorway clutching her purse like a shield. Arya, we need to talk, she said, voice low. She perched on the edge of the couch, eyes skittering. The bank's threatening foreclosure. Riley's working nights, but it isn't enough. Your dad's trying to take more repair jobs, but without Wi-Fi he can't get orders. We're falling apart. For a second I saw the woman who taught me to plant tulips, not the one who stayed silent while I took fire at her table. I'm sorry you're struggling, I said carefully. But Riley said you didn't need me. She needs to fix this. She's your sister, Mom pleaded. She's trying, it's just hard. Can't you help until we're on our feet? Mom, I paid for that house for years. Bills, repairs, everything. Riley called me unappreciated and you let it stand. I'm done carrying her mistakes. Her face crumpled, but she didn't argue. Your father doesn't know what to do, she whispered. He's staying out of it, but he's worried. He can talk to Riley, I said. She started this. Mom stood shoulder sagging. I thought family meant more to you. She left without another word. Lila squeezed my arm. You did the right thing. I nodded, but the weight lingered. The neighborhood gossip swelled. Nadine mentioned to a friend that the Morales place was falling apart. Colin grumbled at a block party about Hector's unpaid invoices. Riley's supermarket job turned into a punchline. So much for the curated freelancer image. I stayed away, kept my head down at the nursery, and guarded what was left of my savings. The pressure was building. They were running out of time. I wasn't their bailout anymore. 3 months after I walked, my childhood house was gone. They sold it, couldn't keep up with the note and bills. Nadine texted me a photo of the for sale sign planted in patchy grass, paint peeling, lawn unkempt. I didn't respond. Lila heard they'd moved to a cramped one-bedroom on the edge of Austin, far from the block they'd known for decades. The Reeveses told anyone with ears that the Morales family had hit a rough patch, their whispers floating through coffee lines and cul-de-sacs. Riley kept her head down, design dreams buried under reality's weight. I didn't go see them. I'd made my choice, and I was building a life that didn't erase me. With what remained of my savings, I bought a modest one-bedroom in South Austin, near a quiet park. Bare walls slowly filled with pencil studies. Roses, lilies, peonies. The muscle memory of arrangements turned into sketches. I took a consulting role with a local florist, designing wedding plans and teaching bouquet workshops. It wasn't Bloom and Forge reborn, but it was a clean step toward myself. Every paycheck hit my account. No siphons. No invisible duties. For the first time in years, I slept without the weight of someone else's ledger on my chest. One morning over coffee, a letter arrived. I knew the handwriting. Riley's neat and careful, like the notes she used to slip under my door as a kid. I let it sit. Part of me wanted to believe in the version of us under backyard stars. The rest of me remembered the dinner table. When I finally opened it, the tone was softer than I expected. Arya, I'm sorry for what I said. I was stressed and angry, but that's not an excuse. I didn't realize how much you did for us. I hope we can talk. No mention of Mom. No mention of Dad. No plan to make anything right, just a plea late and light. I folded it into a drawer with old photos and left it there. I didn't write back. Riley wanted a life without me. I was honoring the request, not out of spite but because I deserve a life where I'm visible. Dad's silence. Mom's pleas. Riley's cruelty. They showed me who they were. I believed them. I blocked the numbers, cleared the voicemails, and let the distance harden into boundary. Noah and Lila checked in with takeout and backyard invites, but I was learning to stand alone, and it felt steady. Here's the lesson etched into every step. Family isn't just blood. It's respect, mutual support, and the willingness to see each other's sacrifices. I gave everything to keep their world turning. They mistook it for a given. That broke us. They're rebuilding now in their own way. I wish them well from over here. Self-reliance is the foundation of any bond worth keeping. Without it, love is just a word, fragile and empty. If any of this hits home, you're not alone. Drop where you're watching from and how you found your footing. Subscribe and ring the bell. There's more to say about boundaries, finances, and rebuilding after you stop playing savior. We're stronger when we stop carrying what was never ours.